Well, what is happening, Transformers fans, movie fans alike? Welcome back to the channel. I am Dial, and this is another edition of my life. Yes, you got me 3 days in a row. I am freaking exhausted, but that's okay. I'm still here to give you the entertainment as always. But it is Transformers Tuesday. We are continuing on in Transformers Tuesday, and this is the final stop till Transformers Rise of the Beast comes out this weekend. It's already here. I can't believe it's already here. Like, we're about to see this movie. We're hoping it's good, man. But for those of you who are new, we have talked about all the theatrical releases of Transformers. We talked about the original animated movie from 1986, the Transformers the movie, and we suffered through all 5 Michael Bay Transformers movies. We talked about the original one from 2007. We talked about Revenge of the Fallen. We talked about Dark of the Moon. We talked about Age of Extinction, and we talked about The Last Knight. If you haven't seen our streams for any of those, check out our channel. I have a playlist of all the Transformers films we talked about, so you can check them out on my channel. But today, we are going to be talking about the last Transformers film, till Rise of the Beast. We are talking about the prequel, kind of ish, prequel reboot-ish thing.
Very soft reboot. Very, very soft. Well, I wouldn't say very soft.
I think it's pretty hard now, given
it's a reboot. It's a reboot.
Sure, we're gonna go with reboot. We'll be talking about Bumblebee, and joining with me today, as always, I have fellow YouTuber and Transformers enthusiast Big B.
Very happy to be here as always. Very glad to be talking about a Transformers film that I actually really enjoyed, and hoping to, the next time we talk about a Transformers film, be still talking about a Transformers film that I enjoy. But
right. It feels nice to be positive about a Transformers film again.
Yes.
And as you said, I'm hoping we can continue with that positivity when Rise of the Beast comes out. But enough of those shenanigans. Let us get into Bumblebee. And as always, we'll remind the viewers out there, this is a spoiler-filled discussion. We're going to be talking about this movie as if you've already seen it. So if you have not seen Bumblebee, I encourage you guys to go watch it on Paramount Plus or wherever you want to stream it. If you own it, I don't know. Check it out and come back and listen to this if you don't want to know anything. So you have been warned. So, those Michael Bay Transformers films really kicks my ass. And I'm sure it kicks Dixie's ass as well.
I felt so betrayed by the fifth one.
Oh,
I
me
felt
too.
I felt so betrayed. Like I wasn't even I was not like I'll say real quick, I was not hyped for this film at all until that first big trailer came out and they showed Shockwave. At that point, I was like, okay, wait a minute, you might have something here.
Yeah, I was on a similar boat with you. After the last night, I was done.
Yeah,
I
I wasn't
was
even gonna see it. I wasn't even gonna go see it.
Yep, I was just so drained. Like I didn't trust anything anymore. Like I took the bait so many times. We know that the Transformers films has really good trailers, and it's just every time they trick us and give us crap after crap after crap. And like you, I didn't even want to see Bumblebee. I heard they were going to do a prequel, and I was like, I could give two shits about that because we
A
already
prequel
don't.
of which continuity? Which you
Exactly. There is no continuity in those Michael Bay films. They change it every freaking time. So it's like, what prequel are you trying to be? Are we going to get a prequel where Bumblebee is in the Nazis with the fighting the
Mhm.
Nazis? Are we going to do that? Like, what is this movie going to be? So I didn't trust it at all. Even when the trailers come out, like you, when we saw the first trailer, I was like, wait, something looks different.
Right,
Something
right.
this doesn't look like
Does
this looks
does this look good? Is that
right.
color on a
Right.
Decepticon?
Are those simplistic designs? Do I see some battles on Cybertron?
Yep.
Wait a freaking
The
minute.
second they showed Optimus Prime for the first time in those trailers, that was immediately like, oh no, I'm gonna go see this movie. I'm gonna go see it. I'm gonna go see it now.
I feel you. I feel you. Like even though I was taken back, but that we're actually it looks like we're starting to get more of the G1 designs for this film. And also Michael Bay was not coming back to direct this. They got Travis Knight, who I think he's
Godsend.
right. I think he's a solid director. Hold on, I don't know why I haven't got his film stuff up. He did Kubo and the Two Strings, and he
Already
did
goaded.
yeah already because I really enjoyed Kubo and the Two Strings, and he did a couple of Leica films like the Box Trolls and Paranorman and stuff like that. And I think he was involved in Coraline as well, which is another film that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, and it also helps that he said in multiple interviews, and he had the receipts to back this up. He is a Transformers fan from G1 up until present, and I'm like, oh, thank goodness, you got someone who actually enjoys the franchise to direct something.
Yes, someone who actually appreciates the original source material and enjoyed the source material growing up. So that did give me a little bit of hope. But at the same time, a part of me was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Because
That's fair.
even with Travis Knight coming in, you still had Paramount looming overhead that probably will make him do a bunch of bullshitty things to this movie.
Yep.
And I still heard some rumblings going on that Michael Bay was somewhat a producer on this film.
I heard about that, and I was like, and then even like later on when they were doing like full on promotion for this, like Comic Cons and everything, and Travis Knight got on stage and was like, "Oh yeah, that bot that you saw that you thought was Starscream, that's not Starscream, that's Blitzwing," and everyone was like, "Oh no, this is gonna suck. This is gonna."
You almost had it, and almost had it.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like while we are seeing the G1 designs for the most part, we still had to stick with that puppy Bumblebee, and I'm just like,
yeah. They made him a beetle though this time. They
did make him a beetle. I was happy about that. But like, regardless, like, I mean, we didn't mind the version of Bumblebee they did in the previous films, but like, it wasn't the Bumblebee from the original show. Or
like they could have done a dramatic redesign, and I get why they didn't. They probably wanted to keep the brand familiarity and everything, and like all the kids that really liked Bumblebee, which I don't know why they would still like Bumblebee after the fifth film, but you know, he's the poster child for this franchise. You know, all the kids that like Bumblebee are gonna see that Bumblebee and be like, oh, it's Bumblebee, so okay, you know, I get it, but
fair enough. So I think this is the first transform. Well, actually, no. I said the last night I didn't see opening weekend, but this one, like, I was like, look, I know it looks good. I know it's showing that the G1 stuff. I know all this. Haley Steinfeld, John Cena. I'm a fan of Haley Steinfeld and John Cena. I was happy to see them, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm sorry, man. I'm so jaded. I'm not going to see this opening weekend. I'm going to wait and see how people respond to this film, and maybe I will go see it. Maybe during a weekday or something.
That's fair. I'm gonna be honest. I saw it opening night, so I was blinded by the hype, man.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. So, however, when this movie came out and the reviews started coming out, it was actually really, really positive. Like, people were saying that this movie was great. It was heartfelt. It felt nothing like the Michael Bay Transformers movies. They said this is what we were waiting for from Transformers. This is what we wanted. I was like, oh, really? Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay. You know what? I'll give it a chance. I will
Mm-hmm.
give it a chance. Even though people were saying that it was giving positive reviews, not a lot of people went to see it. I think it did
Yeah, last
modestly.
night did too much damage.
Yeah, like the stench of the Michael Bay Transformers film still loom overhead. So it was like, you know, it didn't give Bumblebee like enough momentum for people to actually see it. You know, like the trust for the audience was pretty much gone. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a fight. It was a losing battle for it at the time. But regardless, I did end up seeing this probably a week after it came out, like during a weekday matinee. You know, so I was going in there hoping, okay, I'm hoping the critics are right. I'm hoping this is what I will actually enjoy. Hopefully, this is a step in the right direction. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. It can't get any worse than the last night, right? It can't get any worse. And man, I'm so relieved to say that this is a good Transformers movie. It's a good film. I liked it.
Yeah,
I had a
good
fun
film in general.
Yes, I had a fun time with this movie. Thank God. They were right. This didn't feel anything like the Michael Bay Transformers films. There actually was heart. There actually was good character development. The story was easy to follow. It was simplistic, and most importantly, it leaning more towards the stuff that we enjoy with the Transformers, from the designs,
Mm-hmm.
from just how the characters are. For the most part, there's some liberties they take with certain things, but for the most part, like, you can tell with Travis Knight behind the camera, you feel like this movie is made by someone who actually appreciates Transformers, that actually enjoys the source material.
Mm-hmm. And I'll say, like, adding on to you saying that, like, this film felt like kind of like small, and like that like down to earth, and like that's what this, I think this franchise needed after its whole like big unfocused worldwide adventures that it was having, like every single film having something that was like very self-contained, very just like, you know, people
Mm-hmm.
complained about the only good guy in the film mainly being Bumblebee, and it's like that's honestly that's kind of what this series needed at this point. It needed like a fresh start. It needed like something simple.
Yes, yes, yes. I completely agree, because we've gotten so many times the end of the world stakes and all that stuff. We've gotten that so many times, and they're
Yeah.
about to blow their load with the whole Unicron crap. So I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
thank God,
Mm-hmm.
like, this is smaller in scale. This is a more intimate story.
Yeah, and I mean, like the whole threat of the bad guys isn't a world-ending threat here. It's just, oh, they're gonna kill Bumblebee. So the whole film, you're just concerned about what's gonna happen to Bumblebee. So
Right.
it's like I like that. I like that.
Yep. And even like, because like there's another subplot of like worrying that the two main Decepticons are going to trap the Autobots from, because they're making their whole plan of
Mm-hmm.
coming to Earth and luring the Decepticons to Earth and taking over. So like there's that bigger plot point there of them trying to escape from Cybertron, but like that didn't take over the intimate story that we have with Bumblebee and Charlie. So definitely appreciated that. Now, that being said, while I do enjoy this movie, it probably is one of the better Transformers movies, I don't think it's perfect.
Yeah.
I do have some issues here and there, and there are certain things that unfortunately did carry over from the Michael Bay films, such as still a big emphasis on the humans in this movie. The Transformers are still supporting characters, which like I just don't
Yeah.
understand Hollywood's thing about we need to have humans for the audience to relate to a Transformer story. Like they still feel very dubious about letting the Transformers be leads in a film.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. There was a significantly lower budget for this film, but like at least in this one, the humans were enjoyable to watch. I actually
Yes.
cared about what was happening with Charlie. I wanted to see Charlie, throughout this film. I wanted to see them, get over the different character bumps that they had, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But like,
Yes.
yeah,
And more importantly though, like I know this may not sound very fair to people what I'm about to say, but I couldn't help but feel this when I was rewatching this. The Iron Giant is one of my favorite films of all time.
I know where you're going. Yeah, I
The
agree.
story felt so similar to the
It
Iron Giant.
it was basically Iron Giant with Transformers. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. I
yeah,
fully agree.
yes. Now I don't think what they did was bad. The way they executed it still worked for what they were going for, but I couldn't help but feel like the story did feel very derivative of that.
Yes.
Also, I'm kind of conflicted because this is supposed to be the starting off point of them rebooting the franchise. And as that, I feel like it's kind of awkward a little bit
It
because it feels like a standalone story that doesn't need to set up to other things, you know.
yes.
So it'll be very weird in the bigger scope if the franchise continues after Rise of the Beast. It will be very weird for this to be like if you want to introduce somebody to this new rebooted Transformers franchise, it will feel a slightly bit off that this will be the starting point for people to
It
be introduced to it.
it is a little awkward, and I think it's mainly because Travis Knight did want to reboot. He wanted to do his own thing, but Paramount and the people who run the show were like, well, no, we want it to be connected to the Bay universe. So you can do your own thing, just leave room for it to make sense with the Bay universe.
How can you even
Yeah,
do that at
right,
this
right, right, right. Like I get that there were references, like they referenced Project Iceman, so you know that Megatron's on Earth. Okay, cool. They have Agent Simmons. They talk about Sector 7. Uh, but like beyond that, like the designs are drastically different. The timelines don't match up at all. And like the whole interactions with humans, like Bumblebee's interactions with the military in this film would not make sense for what they do to him in '07.
No, no, nope, nope, nope. And then, I mean, we've already talked about in the previous movies of of what really established the first contact with the Transformers had with the humans. This once again is going to put another wrench in. Oh, it's actually not these previous 5 things we established. It's now this, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
so.
I mean, now they're straight up like, because they saw how positive the reception was of Bumblebee, they're like, oh yeah, no, it's a reboot.
So
There are some Paramount execs that are trying to say it's a prequel still, but the directors are saying it's a reboot.
Right, because I said this is skipping way far ahead to the ending, but because it really confused me because as we said, like he's the bug the entire time, and then at the end they're like, oh no, he turns to the classic Camaro from the first Michael Bay
Right.
Transformers film. I'm just like, wait, what? But
Right. And well, the other conflicting thing is that Optimus is there.
Optimus is there.
Yeah, and it's like, what? But he doesn't show up until 2007. This is 1984.
Yep, and he was just like, "Oh no, screw the flat nose. I want to go to the long nose now with some hot rod
Right.
blades."
And like at that point, when I saw Optimus showing up with the classic vehicle mode in the trailer, which once again just breath of fresh air, it was like, okay, no, this is a reboot. I don't care what they say. This is a reboot.
This is a reboot. Like, yeah, I would like to think this is a reboot. Um, okay, so let us get more into this movie. So we already talked about it already. Like the probably the biggest takeaway for me in this movie is the complete overhaul of the designs of the Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
We've heard for years, specifically from Michael Bay, they said that there's no way you can translate the G1 cartoon designs for the modern day. It would look too stupid.
Travis Knight was like, bet.
Hold my beer. Let me show you how they actually is supposed to be. And look at this. Look at this stuff. That is Optimus Prime, bro.
The first 5 minutes of this film were the best Transformers film I've ever seen in my life.
Absolutely. Like that's I pretty much I share those sentiments. Like the rest of the movie is good, but literally that first 5 minutes of them on Cybertron, I was like, yes, they got it right. They got it right. Look at that. That's Wheeljack.
That's Wheeljack. Which, fun fact, voiced by Steve Bloom of all people.
Yeah, I'm like, this is awesome. Look at this RC.
RC Cliff Jumper. Soundwave.
Jesus Christ. Look at that. It's yes, more closer design on Cliff Jumper. They got Ratchet right. Oh my God.
Ratchet. I saw, who else did I see? I saw Brawn. I saw, like, it is crazy.
It's freaking nuts. I'm just like, they got it right. They got it right. This is what we wanted to see.
I know. It took 11 years.
But we finally got it. And just like, yeah, that sequence on Cybertron was so cool, and seeing them transform into their proto designs too. Like we even got to see their proto designs literally straight from the cartoon. Like it was absolute.
And hearing their voices, Bumblebee's voice even, but like
Bumblebee's talking.
Yes, Bumblebee actually talks, and he has a voice that fits. And then you have like their voices don't just sound like gritty war hero or something like that. Shockwave sounds like Shockwave, who's voiced by the Epic Voices guy from YouTube. You have Soundwave that sounds like Soundwave.
Yes, he has the vocoder voice.
Yes.
Thank God.
RC sounds like an interesting character. Wheeljack sounds great. Brawn sounded great for the one line he had. Cliff Jumper sounded amazing.
Yes.
Of course, Optimus Prime, like Peter Cullen actually sounded like he was having fun recording this, which I get that there was some behind the scenes stuff where they kind of like, messed him up with some of his stuff. But at the same time, compared to the stuff that they had him saying in the previous films, I think he enjoyed being able to say the things that he got to say here.
Yeah, you felt like he's reinvigorated again. Like he felt like he's more enthusiastic saying these lines.
Yeah, because he's back to being the gentle giant again. That's what he always loved being.
Yes, absolutely. Now, that being said, though, I do got to bring this question up because I'm sure there's people that are wondering about it. And hearing the little that we're getting from the trailers of Rise of the Beasts, I commend Peter Cullen. He says he wants to voice Optimus till the day he dies.
Yes.
He wants to voice it like forever, which mad respect to Peter Cullen, because not everybody wants to do that or are able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, though, are you starting to hear his age now? Because I feel like I am.
I've started hearing his age since 07. It's especially apparent now. Yeah. If you listen to his voice in Generation 1 and compare it to 07, you can tell that man's aged.
I did.
And like it's especially apparent now, especially in the trailers for like Rise of the Beast, a little bit that we hear, like, he sounds a lot older. Even in Transformers Prime, that series, he sounds a lot older. But he's still able to pull off the voice. He's still able to it sounds like Optimus Prime, which I commend him for it. Now, once inevitably someone has to step up to fill the role, I'm personally recommending Gary Chalk. But
well, it seems like Chris Hemsworth's gonna play Optimus in Transformers 1,
which I'm interested to see what direction he takes that voice in. Yeah. But Peter Cullen, like, yeah, I can hear the age in his voice. I mean, the man's like 90 something years old now, but
Yeah,
definitely hats off to him for being able to even pull off that voice and be able to do it consistently.
absolutely. What I will say, like when he was voicing the Michael Bay movies, I didn't feel that much of a difference back then. I mean, it did feel different from the G1 cartoon exactly. Like in the G1 cartoon, he sounded so much younger, but I felt like that with the Michael Bay films, like that more mature voice that he had in those, it kind of fit with the design of Optimus in those
It
movies.
it,
It made
it
him feel
definitely did.
more, yeah,
It
it made him,
definitely did.
yeah, it made it feel like that, like his presence felt more massive, and it matched like the design of his character in those movies. So it didn't really bother me in the Michael Bay films, but like
Yeah.
I'm guessing like now seeing him in the G1 like form, and it's like I've just got from watching some episodes of the G1 cartoon, and like it is kind of it
It's
stands out a little bit more that like an older Peter Cullen voice is coming out of the G1 cartoon, because
Yeah, especially because he seems to be trying to sound like he did back then. Because,
yeah,
like, yeah, like you said, he has like a more mature tone throughout like the Michael Bay films. But in this one, he sounds a lot more upbeat. He sounds a lot more energetic like he does in G1. And like you can tell he's putting more of his voice into that voice for
yes,
that character for Bumblebee and now for Rise of the Beast.
right. So I'm not saying it's time for him to stop. Like no,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I
no, keep going as long as you want, man. But
keep going, but like I'm just like noticing he's sounding older now. So I'm hoping if they continue off of Rise of the Beast, I'm hoping he's still gonna keep that consistency, and hopefully it won't be distracting in Rise of the Beast when we watch it.
right.
But yeah, regardless of that, so glad that we got the peaceful warrior Optimus again, and
Absolutely. You don't see him being overly brutal in the fight scenes he has. Like he's using
no.
like the right amount of force. It's great. It's great.
That's the thing about the action in this movie, because like in the Michael Bay films, like they were very brutal fights, like
hmm
pushing the PG-13 rating at some instances, but like
hmm
the action scenes in here aren't too violent, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they have their brutal moments, but at the same time, like even during the final fight between what was it?
Shatter and Dropkick,
Shatter. Yeah, it was like I think it was like Dropkick and Bumblebee.
yeah.
And like you see several references, like the action scenes in here feel very much like G1. You have a lot of them like using their transformations to they have a whole sequence that they straight up ripped from the G1 opening. But like you have them like using a lot more like their fists and feet and everything. Occasionally they use like a blast or a blade or something like that, but it's a lot more like hand-to-hand combat. It feels very much like G1, which I like. I like that a lot.
Yep. Oh, what I also appreciate, now that we're back to the more simplistic designs of the G1 cartoons, we can actually tell what's going on with the
Yes,
action
yes.
scenes.
It's also that they actually gave the Decepticons, color. They're not just these gray and black masses of metal. Like Shatter and Dropkick, not only do they feel like actual characters because of how they interact with each other and the world around them, but
Mhm.
they also feel like characters because of their designs, because of the different color schemes that they use with them, because of the
Yes,
different vehicle modes that they take.
they
They
look so much
feel
more appealing.
they feel like actual sentient beings rather than just feeling like these grunts that do Megatron or whoever the big baddie is bidding. Like even the characters who only get like one line or like one word lines, like the Seekers that appear at the beginning of the film that are like shooting at the Autobots saying like finish them. They feel like characters. They feel like they are individuals because they have these individual designs and color schemes. And yeah, sure, reused parts were used here and there, but they feel alive. Like it's
You see how much can feel different from just those little bits of effort here and there,
yes,
those little bits
yes,
of detail. Like,
yes.
but that's so hard to do.
Not everything has to have the saturation slider set to 0. All right, you can have color.
Yeah.
Like even Cybertron itself, for the little bits they showed in the past when they showed him in the Michael Bay films, it looked like this just weird geo like hexagon looking beehive looking thing. Here
Yeah.
it actually like the small glimpses that you get, it feels like it could be a planet where things live. Like there's little splashes of color. It looks like there might be some cities here, streets. You could see how people would probably go about their day on this planet. It feels so much better. It's a
Yeah.
lot more believable. You don't have to suspend your disbelief. You don't have to just say, "Oh, well, they're an alien race, so they get away with doing this stuff." No, it feels believable.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Um, but yeah, as you were saying, like we could tell who's hitting who. There's like they're being more creative with their fight scenes. Like they're using the transformations in a creative way, and like
Hmm.
when they're transforming, it doesn't look like a bunch of gobbledygook being formed into a vehicle.
Hmm.
Like it like the transformations look more like they make sense of how they're able to transform.
Hmm.
So I was so happy about that. I mean, there's still some about still quite a bit of parts that you see, but it's like it's
Yeah,
more, it makes more sense like how they form into their vehicle modes. Like you can make out how they do it.
yeah, it's very consistent. And on top of that, like, even though, yes, I'll admit it was satisfying to hear like the metal clanging and everything for every transformation in like the Michael Bay films and everything,
Yeah.
they remixed and reused the original transformation sound from G1 so many times, and it works. It
Yeah.
just worked.
Yes, I loved hearing that.
Yep,
Like,
yep,
yes,
yep,
yes, that's what we want to hear. Yes.
yep, yep.
And I'm even okay with them mixing it in. Like they don't have to use it every time. Like
Yeah,
sometimes
they
you use
just
it.
like did
Yeah.
different effects with it, which fit. It was good.
Yes, yes, it was so good. I loved it. And even with this movie having a lower budget than the Michael Bay films, the effects of the Transformers still look really,
Oh
really
yeah.
good.
Oh yeah. Like you
Like
can tell it's CGI, but it looks good.
it looks good. It's like I buy that Haley Steinfeld is interacting with the robot. It looks convincing still, even with the
Hmm.
lower budget. So see, it's not about how much money you use; it's how you use it. That's
Hmm.
what's important about it. What's important. Okay, as far as Bumblebee, I enjoyed him a lot more this time around. Still doing the puppy stuff, but I'm glad that we at least got a glimpse of him actually having a personality, actually talking.
Hmm.
They actually had Dylan O'Brien voice his voice half in
Yeah,
his
which
beginning.
good lord, that was fantastic casting choice.
That
I would have
was
loved to hear him throughout the whole movie, but I get it.
Yeah, you know what they gotta do. You know what they gotta do.
Hmm.
But like, yeah, Dylan O'Brien was an excellent choice to voice Bumblebee. And once again, they're retconning how he gets the voice up, which is fine. This is a reboot. I don't care. But
Right, right,
Blitz
right, right.
Blitzwing taking out his voice. Okay. All right. And then he loses his memory. And that's where we start getting into the Iron Giant stuff,
Yeah,
which
which
is,
was a cool moment to see that, by the way. But
yeah, Bumblebee versus Blitzwing, man. That was
golly.
so cool. That like set the tone for the action scenes in this movie. Of course, we know like in the trailer, I thought that was Starscream. I think a lot of people
Hmm.
thought that was Starscream, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Starscream. It would have been the perfect design for Starscream, but at the same time, after seeing that film and after seeing that character in action, okay, it's Blitzwing.
It's
Cool,
Blitzwing. That's
cool.
fine. That's fine. Um, so okay, let us get into the human characters. Let us start with Charlie, played by Haley Steinfeld. You guys know I love me some Haley Steinfeld. I'll watch her in anything that she's in, even the underwhelming Hawkeye show that she was in
Hmm.
as Kate Bishop. You know, she made the most with that even. And of course, she was excellent as Spider Gwen in the Spider Verse movies. Uh,
Absolutely.
so great. But in this movie, man, such a breath of fresh air as far as the humans, because we couldn't stand
Yeah.
most of them in the Michael Bay films. And I do like Shia LaBeouf in the Transformers movies, but like you could tell that as the movies went on, there was starting to become a dip in quality with his character. But in this movie, I really liked her. I really liked
Yes.
she was it was the typical teenage drama stuff, being like, I want a car.
Yeah, it
My
was a
mom
coming
does
of age story.
coming of age story. My mom doesn't understand me. Like the family hasn't been the same since dad died, and we've seen that stuff before. But the way they do it in this movie is very charming and it's very
Mhm.
endearing. And it's hard to hate Haley Steinfeld. It really is.
Mhm. Mhm.
She just makes the character so likable, even though she's going through her typical teenage angst. But
Yeah, it felt like an 80s film. It felt
oh
like
yeah,
an 80s film.
I mean, it is set in 1984, so
Yeah.
it definitely fits. And she has the the 80s haircut right there.
Yes. Yeah, she's even wearing like the torn jean jacket and everything. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
yeah. This is the 80s.
Yeah, if you
But
couldn't tell.
right. But yeah, I thought she was good. The little glimpses when they do talk about her dad and stuff like that, I did find that very heartwarming and like pretty sad actually because her
Mhm.
dad died of a heart attack and stuff like that. And just seeing her eventually, you know, open up to Bumblebee and other people, around her, I just found that very touching.
Mhm.
Um, very nice. As for the rest of her family, her mother, her brother, and her stepdad, I guess they're pretty good. They're pretty good. The stepdad, I was kind of annoying though. I'll be real with you. But
Mhm.
as far as the mother and the brother, I thought they were pretty good. The brother had some funny moments here and there.
Yeah. I mean, I do get the feeling with the stepdad that was kind of like just to add to like the whole 80s like family plot or whatever there. Um but no, I mean, I enjoyed seeing the family for the short bit that they were all together on screen, but at the same time, like,
Yeah,
yeah, like they,
yeah,
like I was just here for what Charlie was doing. That's
pretty
all I,
much,
yeah,
pretty
that's all I
much.
really cared about.
Yeah, you remember that one scene though where it was her birthday, and her mother gave her a helmet for her
Oh,
bicycle,
yeah,
and then the stepdad. Oh my god! He actually gave her a book about smiling because she has no
yes,
friends. I'm like, why
yes.
would you give that to her? That's so
It's the
disrespectful.
yeah, it's the typical like the parents don't understand and
It's like, really now? Come on now, come on. Um, And like, I mean, I've seen this also reminded me of like similar stuff they were trying to do in the Miss Marvel show. Which no, I think the Miss Marvel stuff like handled it a little bit better. But yeah, it's like, come on now, you can't have this much of a disconnect with your daughter. Like, why would
Mhm.
you do that? But as we said, typical '80s stuff. I wasn't annoyed by it, but it's just
Mhm.
like, we've seen it before. Okay, so, we forgot the do I even want to consider him a love interest of Charlie? Memo?
It's I mean, it's the guy that has a crush on her that just follows her around and reacts to things. I mean, he was enjoyable to see too. He was like even for the short bit that he really got, like, he was already less annoying than most of the characters that appear in these films. But,
Yeah,
like he was there, just there.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he did contribute towards the climax somewhat, a
A
little
bit,
bit, a
a
little bit.
bit. For the
Um,
most part, he was just there to be like, this robot's cool.
yeah,
I like this robot.
right. But yeah, even though like he wasn't given that much to do, I didn't have a problem with him.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing about these human characters, like, yeah, well, there's some of them that like aren't like great, and like they have some like annoying moments here and there. It wasn't enough to be like, I don't like this character,
Hmm.
like they knew when to pull back on like the cliches and the stuff that unfortunately plague the Michael Bay films. Like, there's no stereotypes, there's no like egregious efforts to be funny when they don't need to be. Like, there's none of that weird Michael Bay humor that they're doing. Like, the interactions in this movie felt so much more natural in this.
Yeah, they knew when the humans had overstayed their welcome on screen. They knew when it was like getting to be like, okay, you're getting a little tired of seeing the humans. Here's some robots. All right, we're gonna go back to the humans. because we're on a budget.
Yep.
All right, here we got the robots again.
Yep. Oh, you know what else I also appreciate? The Michael Bay films all were over 2 hours long, 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
You know how long Bumblebee
yeah,
was? An hour and 57 minutes.
yeah.
You're in and you're out.
Yeah. Like even though considering how much I liked this film, I would have liked to be immersed in that world a little longer. But at the same time, I feel like it was like just the perfect length that it needed to be. Like it didn't drag on anything really. It was just, here's the plot, here's what they do, boom, done. All right. Go leave the theater now. All right, cool.
Right. And yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying, because like I wouldn't have mind if the movie was a little bit longer, but like what I appreciate about this is that once again it's Travis Knight making the statement that you don't need to make these Transformers films overly complicated and overly long for no reason. They got to the point. They got a simple story. They're able to tell their stories and have good, compelling characters, and you're able to tell it under 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So that should tell you something.
And it seems like the message is heard, because Rise of the Beast is about to be the same length. So.
Yeah, 2 hours, which that gives me a little bit more of a concern because of everything that they're setting up in this movie with the Maximals, the Terracons, the Predacons, and Unicron. I'm like, I feel like you might need a little bit more than 2 hours.
Right, I feel like this should have been 2 films, but you know what? We'll see.
We'll see. I did hear, like, listening to interviews with Stephen Caple Jr., that like some of this stuff is set up for things that they're trying to do in the future. So it's like they're not trying to make it like a huge like Infinity War Endgame level movie. It's like some of this stuff like will be set up. Like I don't even think we'll see Unicron fully form into a robot form. Like,
I don't think that they're really gonna face Unicron yet. Like, I mean, you might see him, but like I don't think they're really gonna face him yet.
Right. So we'll see how they execute it, though. But that would be an even bigger statement, that if they're able to juggle all these different plot points in that movie in under 2 hours.
Yeah, like, that would be a huge slap in the face to Michael Bay, and I'm here for it.
Yep, me too. Absolutely. Come to think of it, we were talking about the animated movie. Wasn't that movie under 2 hours as well? And they were establishing so much in that movie?
I believe so. Let me see.
Now, granted, we know it's a cartoon, and it's like it's a little bit different, but even still,
it was less. It was an hour and 26 minutes.
An hour and 26 minutes, and they established the Quintessons, Unicron, the trash Transformers. I forgot what they were called. The Junkions. They had Hot Rod becoming Rodimus Prime, Ultra Magnus. They had all that, and they established that in an hour and a half.
It was essentially 2 episodes. Like they just
So, and Optimus Prime dying as well. So just like, and all the other Autobots dying, they did all that. So, you know what? I'm almost thinking like there's no excuse not to be able to do this in 2 hours. So we'll see how Rise of the Beast fares. But yeah, I definitely appreciate that this movie didn't feel like it was dragging on. It was very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's talk more about the antagonist of this movie. Whoa, surprisingly, there's a Transformers film where Megatron is not in it. Like,
yeah, mainly because they needed to leave room for Bayverse, but even then, I don't think he was even originally planned to be the antagonist. He was just set up to have a cameo, which, okay.
I'm a bit shocked that we did see like one shot of Megatron, because all the other Decepticons were there.
Yeah, I mean, apparently, and like the design has been made public now thanks to like some Rise of the Beast toys that have come out.
Yeah.
But originally, Travis Knight even said that there was going to be a scene on Cybertron where Megatron shows up, and like that would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
I'm a little sad that it's not there, but
no.
Hey, I get it.
I mean, hopefully, since we do see the toys of Rise of the Beast, maybe there's like there's a scene of him in Rise of the Beast that we haven't.
I would love it. Even if it's a post-credit scene, I would love it.
Yes, absolutely. But that's another thing with this movie, because like they easily could have just made Megatron the villain again, even though I don't know I don't know how much sense that would make because with Bumblebee being the main Transformer we're following, but like it was great that they weren't afraid to have these two obscure Decepticons be the main antagonists of this
Mm-hmm.
film. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is there a Shatter and Dropkick in the original cartoon?
I remember looking this up like a week
Because I
ago.
do not remember those names in the original cartoon.
Does not look like it, no.
So these are original. These are original Decepticons. Um,
Yeah,
cool.
according to the TF wiki, the Transformers wiki doesn't even make any mention of it. They did. I do know that there were like some designs floating around where they retroactively made them G1 style characters, but
Hmm.
retroactively.
Okay.
So,
Well, so with that being said, what did you think about these original Decepticons? How did you think they played out this week?
like going into the film, I was a little uncertain about him, but then like after seeing how they interacted with each other, even like the little comments that like Dropkick had, where like they're like kneeling down to the humans, and he's like, "Oh, this is so humiliating," or "Can I pop this one?" or something like that. It's like, okay, I see that there's a dynamic between these guys. They feel like actual characters. Dropkick clearly has a personality. Shatter definitely feels like more of a like by the books, like kind of just like reserved kind of Decepticon, and I like that. I like that a lot. And you get to see like a little bit of like their sadistic side when they're interrogating Cliffjumper and everything. And it's like I liked them. I liked them a lot. If they were to survive this film and make an appearance in Rise of the Beast or some future film, I would not be mad at that at all. They won't, but I
But
would not be mad at that.
yeah,
I would have
hopefully
loved
they.
to see more of these guys.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I actually really like them as well. And as you said, like them giving them distinct personalities and how they work off each other,
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah,
really
they said more than just "come here, boy," or "I'll suck your brains" or something like that. Like it's
right, right. Like yeah, like come on. Like for some reason, Michael Bay thought they all the Transformers need, all the Decepticons need to act the same. Need to be these angry monsters,
mm-hmm.
and that's all they are. And like I'm glad in this, like they actually tried to make them distinct. Um, as far as that cannon that Dropkick has that turns them into like bubble water, whatever they are.
Yeah, yeah.
That was nuts too.
That was nuts. I imagine that is not a very pleasant way to go, but
No,
that was nuts.
that was nuts. Now, I'm wondering how that works on an Autobot though. Like, do they vaporize like water?
I like looking at it, I was wondering if maybe it's something like cosmic rust. I kind of wish that he would have used it on an Autobot just to see what the effect would be, like if they just like turn into liquid or something, because that seems like a very OP like weapon of mass destruction level weapon right there. But
Right, right. I don't even remember if they gave. I don't think they gave Shatter like a specific like attack.
no, like she had like her blades, and I think she was able to like tap into people's like comms. She seemed like more of a like spy type character, almost kind of like similar to Soundwave, like more espionage and stuff, which I liked that. I liked that a lot because she was like the more tech savvy, like tapping into everything the humans had. She was the one who uh figured out that whole transmission with Cliffjumper. She was the one that hacked or essentially like hacked into Bumblebee or whatever. Well, not hacked, but caused that whole transmission to play again, so that they knew that Optimus Prime was coming and everything. So like yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I what I also liked is that they can transform into more than one vehicle.
Yes, actually I mean, they had a triple changer in the later two films of Michael Bay, but we don't talk about Drift. Yeah, no, they were really cool. I loved the vehicle modes they had, and I loved the scenario where they got them to. They just crashed in this dude's like
Not
this
my
dude's
car!
home.
Not my
Yeah,
car! Like really? You think that's gonna help? Like standing in front of
yeah,
your car while a meteor's about to crash? That like yeah.
yeah. Like awesome vehicle mode choices there too.
Oh
Muscle
yeah.
cars, and then they turn into military airborne vehicles. Like, oh, okay, yeah.
That's cool.
Fantastic.
What I also liked, going back to, we appreciate that they gave the Decepticons colors, because the flying vehicles didn't have any color on them, but when they transform, they
Yes.
stick with the colors. I'm like,
Yes, which like
yeah,
that's something that happens in almost every other Transformers media, which I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I also loved that when they scanned those vehicle modes, when they transform back into robot mode, you
mhm.
see those new bits of the new vehicle modes they got start to poke through and generate and everything. It's like, oh, okay, that's really cool. That's a nice touch.
Yeah,
That's a
it's
really
very
nice
nice
touch.
touch. Yeah, and you actually see that with Bumblebee, like before he turns into the bug, like you see like his proto form still there, and then when he
Mhm.
turned, and also there was a
When he
scene
turned
where
into
he
a Jeep, yeah.
turned to a Jeep. Yep, yep. And you saw like the parts there, how it was different too. So it's like, I appreciate those little bits of detail. However, hold on. However, there is one little inconsistency though, because Optimus Prime looked like he was in his truck form on Cybertron. It did not look like a proto form. So that's
Mhm.
one little nitpick I'll give to that. Because like, look at those windows up there. That's literally the windows from the flat nose and all that
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah. I have an idea why they did that. It was fully just to get the people to be like, "Oh, that's Optimus Prime. That's Optimus Prime. I need to see this. This is the best design ever." But
true, true, true. Part of me like wishes, like, because they do this in marketing before, where it's like you would see like one thing in the trailer and then it looks different when you actually see the movie. They actually did that with Across the Spider-Verse recently, because there was that sneak peek of when Gwen came into Mouse's room and they were like, want to get
hmm
out of here, and he was wearing completely different clothes and had different animation than they did in the movie.
hmm
So it's like, part of me wishes that that was a misdirect to be like, oh look, this is the true vehicle form of Optimus, but when you actually see the movie, it's him in the proto form. So
hmm
it's like, I don't know, just for consistency's sake. But that's a nitpick. That's a nitpick, because Optimus looks incredible. Like, can I guess we can agree that this is probably the best design live action wise of Optimus Prime.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like even looking at Rise of the Beast, like I like the Rise of the Beast design, but I
Yeah,
like this one more.
I agree, because like literally this like straight out of the cartoon, like it does have some modern like modifications to it, but like it looks like the original cartoon.
hmm
Even with, yeah, Rise of the Beast, like he still for the most part looks like the G1 cartoon, but you can tell they had to put some modifications there, and because it's whatever, like the flaps in front of the windows, and there's not as much red on his torso like it was in this movie, and they had they had to give him the bloody mouth again. They had to
Yeah,
give him the mouth. Like
yeah.
what
Like
I
I,
res-
I like I like that they. I don't like the mouth, but I do like that they went and decided to model his face after Peter Cullen. I
I
like
did
that.
see that. I
But
did see that because I saw Optimus had that big nose. I'm like, why did you give him Optimus a big nose? Because Peter Cullen has a big nose. I'm like, okay, okay, that's nice. That's nice though. But like, I like, even though I didn't really have that much of an issue with him having a mouth in the previous movies, I respected that Travis Knight the entire time was like, no, he's gonna have his mouth guard on the entire time, and like that's how it's gonna be. So it's like,
hmm
thank God for that.
they actually had it moving when he talked
Yeah,
to
he's
like the
moving
old
with a talk.
cartoon. Yep.
Yeah, I like that. See, it's like you don't need to have him have a mouth, because like we can tell that he's talking when the mouth guard is
hmm
moving. So it's like, and you still have personality and emotion coming from him when he talks. So
Yep.
it's like
You can still tell what emotion is on his face just by the eyes.
the eyes.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. So I respect that so much. Respect it so much. Now going back to Shatter and Dropkick, when how'd you feel about them killing Cliff Jumper?
Cliff Jumper can't catch a break, man. He
He
gets
he
killed in the
can't.
first episode of Transformers Prime. He gets
Yep.
killed here. In the comics, they literally have a whole like issue where they make a joke about him looking like Bumblebee. And like they just have him living in Bumblebee's shadow because Bumblebee gets all this glory and they just forget about Cliff Jumper. They just forget he even exists. And it's like, why? Why? Cliff Jumper's a really cool character. Like you look at G1, he's like this brash, like I'm going in guns blazing kind of guy. And it's like that. I like that. Why can't we have more of that?
That's true. That was something I was thinking about with the original cartoon, because like he looked exactly like Bumblebee, and Bumblebee was the one they were pushing more. But
hmm
like Cliffjumper, like, yeah, as you said, has a completely different personality from Bumblebee, and it is a shame that like he's like the red shirt of the Transformers for the most part. And I know that episode
Yeah.
you were talking about in Prime too, because they had the Rock voice Cliffjumper too, which was cool. And it's
Hmm.
like they couldn't even
I was
keep
I
him
was really looking forward to hearing him throughout the series, and then he just gets killed. It's like, oh,
I guess they
all
couldn't
right,
afford the Rock for the entire
I
season,
guess,
which is unfortunate. But like, yeah, for the betterment of the story, okay, I guess
yeah,
you
to set the tone.
Yep, yep,
Okay.
yep. At least they're showing there's still sacrifice in these movies. Um, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
whatever. At least that's like
yeah,
the only like main Decepticon that dies. I mean, main Autobot that dies in this movie.
yeah. And Braun might have died. I don't know, but
Oh yeah, might.
might have. Like, you see him get like shot in the face, and he like ricochets off a box or something. But like, I don't.
Mm.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, and yeah. Did you also notice Ironhide was in the background too? I think you
Yes,
talked
I
about it
did.
earlier.
So there's actually on the Blu-ray release of this movie, which I have. There's a whole special features thing where they go through the scene on Cybertron, and every time an Autobot or Decepticon appears on screen, they stop everything, then they give you a full shot of him. So
Oh,
it's like, okay, that's cool.
very nice, very nice. Um, but yeah, like I just can't get over how good they look. Like they
Yeah, they
did.
had like Wheeljack's like ear things lighting up when he talked and everything too.
Yes, like was it that? Yeah, like when he was talking, the antennas were like lighting up, and like that was so cool. Like, is it so hard to have this design for Wheeljack?
Apparently.
They couldn't even keep that from Rise of the Beast. I'm like, what is so bad about this
Yeah,
design?
yeah. I know that they gave him his ears and like battle mask is like a battle mask thing in Rise of the Beast, but it's like, come on. And he had a perfect voice in Bumblebee too. It was Steve Bloom.
Yeah, Steve.
That could have been amazing in Rise of the Beast, and they were like, no,
Like, no. You gotta make him the Donatello of Transformers.
I guess.
Why is a Transformer wearing glasses? I just
Why has he got like weird like? Why has he got that weird face?
I, I don't know. I'm hoping in the context of the movie, he's still a good character. At least
We'll see.
we'll see how it goes with Sir Pablo up in here.
Yeah,
But
Pablo.
Pablo. Okay, so I want to talk more about the Iron Giant like influences in here.
Hmm.
Okay, and like I said, I don't think this stuff is bad, but like like I said, it does feel a bit cliche. Like
Hmm.
we get the antics in the house of like when Charlie's off at work and he leaves Bumblebee in the garage, but then he gets curious and goes into the house and starts smashing a whole bunch of other things. He sits on the sofa and he breaks the sofa and then when the mother comes back, he's like, "Oh, what happened? What's happened?" I'm like, "Oh boy, yeah, it's this type of
Yeah.
stuff." Like he doesn't like Bumblebee doesn't remember what happened on Cybertron. He doesn't remember his name. They actually call him B127.
B127. Yes.
Is that an actual thing from the original card?
No.
No, they just that I thought that was weird because
I
like
think they did that just to be like, well, make it sound like Alien or something like that. Which, okay, but then there's Optimus Prime and Ironhide and Brawn and Wheeljack. I mean,
yeah,
I get it. Bumblebee is an Earth thing,
yeah,
but like what is Jazz called like J1477 or something like that? Like,
probably. Yeah, that's what I thought. And then, dude, the main Decepticons are called Shatter and Dropkick.
yeah,
So I'm like, you couldn't just have them be Bumblebee from the beginning, but it's whatever. It's whatever. But yeah, that type of stuff with the slapstick with Bumblebee, it's like it's the typical puppy stuff where I'm like, it's okay. This is what we're doing. All right, that's fine.
yeah. I mean, it's better than threatening a military dude with burning him so bad he's gonna wish he died as a child. But
I still can't believe he said that. I still couldn't believe that. Like I literally tuned that out of my head, and I recently watched it. And then when you brought it up, I'm like, did he really say this is the Transformer marketed to kids?
It's a better direction,
It,
but
yeah, I'm just like that. And then when Charlie and Memo was that blonde chick that was the bully, and
oh yeah,
they,
egging the car and everything. Yeah.
and then smashing the car. And I'm
Right.
like, oh, okay, all right. And then
Right.
into that car chase with the police, which I actually thought that was a pretty cool scene.
Yeah, that was a cool scene. Like I get it, it's the girl, it's like the boy and his dog kind of story, which okay,
Right.
cool. Right.
It's fine. It's fine. Though the one thing I felt like was a bit out of character, a little bit. Like this literally felt like they literally plopped this right out of Iron Giant. Was when we haven't talked about John Cena. We'll talk about John Cena in a minute. But when John Cena pushed her to the ground, and then Bumblebee.
Oh yeah, and then you got the red optics and like
with killer mode. I'm like, what? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Literally from the same thing with the Iron Giant when Hogarth is like unconscious and then Giant goes all sicko mode, killer mode.
Right. Like I get it. They needed a thing for Bumblebee to remember how to access his weapon systems, but like,
it was a little forced. Like
right.
All that he did was push her to the ground. Like,
yeah, it was just military dudes being mean military dudes, and
right. Like if Charlie got like seriously injured or something, maybe I would see Bumblebee getting angry from that. But like it just
that was a thing where like at that point, for the first time I watched that film, I was half expecting John Cena's character to have a nuke shot at wherever Bumblebee was at, and Bumblebee would just fly up and stop it or something. I was half expecting that.
Yeah, man. Like it's. Once again, I just like Iron Giant, as I said, is one of my favorite films, and it's just like I just couldn't help but think about that the entire time. Like, yeah, literally, I was expecting him to pull out a whole bunch of weapons out of nowhere and start killing everybody.
Where's the Giant Mansley? Like I was half expecting a thing like that.
Oh my god! But yeah, this is fine. Okay, so let us talk about John Cena playing Agent Burns. I will admit, when I first heard he was in this movie, even though I am a John Cena fan, it did seem a bit out of place. At least,
yeah, I will say, like they were having him play like the stereotypical like military guy that doesn't understand robots and aliens, so he's gonna blow the aliens up or something. But they at least went through the trouble of giving him a legitimate reason to do it.
Right.
Like even though during that whole like military training exercise where like they got attacked, even though Bumblebee did warn them, yes, it's still like to him he probably thinks that these aliens are a threat because his whole squad got wiped out. So it's like, okay, like obviously these guys are a threat, and he doesn't even trust the Decepticons either. He's not even on board with the other people. He straight up says like, there's deception in their name. It's the Decepticons. How does that not sound bad to you?
I'm so glad they called that out too, because that's such on the nose. Like, So
I get that he's just being like, the stereotypical military dude or whatever, but I like that they at least gave him a proper motivation for being that character.
Right. And then he ends up coming around by the end too.
Yes.
So, like he was
which once again does not make sense for what happens in 2007 with them like initially wanting this to be a prequel to the 2007 film. But
yeah, like there's a whole bunch of stuff in this movie that does not link up with the Michael.
Right.
So,
You would think that in the 2007 film, John Cena would run into that room where Bumblebee is being tortured and be like, hey, wait a minute.
Right. I'm just like, yeah, it's fine. That scientist guy.
Yeah.
A little over the top. A little bit over the top.
Yeah, like he's
a little too naive.
He's the blinded by the by the prospect of interacting with alien races and being able to help catch an international or interplanetary criminal or something like that. Which, okay,
Right.
cool, I guess, but like at some point when they're hooking up to all your equipment and getting access to all your databases, you got to sit there and go, something's not right. And like
Yeah.
he only realizes it at the end when Optimus says you got to protect the humans, and he's like, oh.
Yep, they fucked up. They fucked up. But yeah, so yeah, but like I'm glad there wasn't like a an over reliance on the military aspect like it was in the previous films. Like there was a
Yeah.
president. It was important to the story, but like it wasn't like so much military stuff going on.
Yeah,
Like
they weren't like over glorifying the military like in the previous films.
right, right. And you didn't have those annoying like agents like in Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon being like, listen, dude, you're stupid. You should not be doing this. You
Oh
should go find the
man.
force. Blah. No, you didn't have any of that. So thank God there was none of that. And what I also appreciate, there was no perverted shots of women in this movie.
Which,
None of
oh
that.
my god, that was crazy. I remember like watching that film. I was looking for it. I was like, all right, where is it?
Right?
When are they gonna do it? They
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
do it. Oh my god,
Actually treat women with decency in this
that's
movie.
amazing.
Look at that. Look
You
at
didn't
that.
you didn't even have like one scene where like Charlie had to like distract a guard or something like that. Oh, that's awesome. Awesome.
Absolutely great. And another thing, like I know, like Michael Bay likes to do this with his camera work, but like there wasn't the typical like zooming in on a character or the spinning shots or like the
Mhm.
oversaturation of colors and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
shaky cam.
Yeah, they
Like,
weren't afraid to just let a camera stay in one place during a shot, and
yeah,
that was so like I understand that's a complaint with like things like the MCU where they're like, the camera stays in one place too often. Like we don't see enough of like variety with like shots and everything. But it was
yeah.
so refreshing. That's kind of a sad thing. It was so refreshing to just have a medium shot be a medium shot and not a medium shot that's like panning around all the characters and like swooping around and rotating and like
Yeah, it's like Michael tried to make every shot in that movie epic when it's just
Mhm.
two people talking.
Yeah, like pretty much every shot that was still had some kind of zoom in. Like it
Right.
was like
Literally,
it
like
was
one
so
thing of like they have the camera like on the floor, and then they have them looking up at a person, making them look like
yeah.
bigger and whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
even shots when like Shia LaBeouf's in like The Office and like Dark of the Moon. There was like all the shots that were there. It was like, oh, there's like a zoom in here. There's like a rack focus here. It's like it was so good to just have a shot, like just having like Charlie working on that car, and it's like, oh, the camera stays still, and we can
yeah,
just take in all the different things in this shot. Oh, look at that! There's a thing there. That's pretty cool. That was nice. That was nice.
it was very, very nice, very nice. And there wasn't an overabundance of explosions on here. There were explosions in this movie,
Yes,
but it made
obviously, but
sense. Yes,
yes.
it made sense where they were. Um, that climax with them at the satellite, Bumblebee fighting Cliff Jumper. I mean, I'm sorry, not Cliff Jumper, Dropkick. When
Mhm.
Bumblebee was fighting Dropkick, and then Bumblebee fighting Shatter. That was a really, really good sequence. That was really, really cool. Very thrilling. And yeah, once again, I can't get over it. Like I'm so glad that like we could actually tell some choreography and like we could see what's happening. There's wide shots.
Yeah,
Of the
and the
Transformers.
choreography was beautiful. Like,
Absolutely beautiful.
yeah.
So good. So good. Um, but yeah, I think we already covered everything because
I
it's
mean,
so,
just about. I mean, it was a shorter film. There wasn't a lot there, and like we said, it was a very self-contained plot. Like, not a lot happened in the grand scheme of things,
yeah.
but like a lot happened still. But
Right. They did a lot with very little, which I
Mhm.
appreciate that. Now, do you think we'll see Charlie again in the future?
I hope so. Especially with like, them continuing the Bumblebee timeline with Rise of the Beast and everything. I hope we see a grown-up Charlie, and because this film that's coming out is like 10 years later. So I hope we see a grown-up Charlie. I would love to see more of that character. I'd even love to see more of Memo. I'd love to see more of Agent Burns. I'd love to see more of every human character that appeared in this film. It's not likely, but I would like to see it.
Yeah, like it's most likely we'll get like a either or I don't know what Cable's thinking, but I don't know if like this cast we're going to see in Rise of the Beast will be the actual recurring characters, or
Yeah.
each movie's going to be a different revolving set of
Yeah,
cast.
which I hope they don't do that unless a character gets killed off. I hope they don't, like I hope that it's something that they expand on. Yes. I
Hmm.
hope that like every movie maybe we see like more Autobots show up, like Ironhide, Ratchet and all that. I hope we see that. But I don't hope that I hope that it's not a revolving door like it was where like, in Transformers 3, you had these characters and then in Transformers 4 was a completely different cast.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. How likely do you think? I don't know. Is Cable feeling this dirty? How likely do you think we'll actually get a legitimate Spike in this universe? Will we see Spike?
you know, I honestly, with the direction that it's going, I think it's likely. I think it's likely. I think it's likely that we will at least see a Daniel, at least.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm interested to see. Like
Yeah, I'm interested to see them because like the directors, Paramount executives are trying to say that it's prequel to the Bay films and everything. No, no, no. The directors are saying it's a reboot. So if
it's
the
a rip.
directors say it's a reboot, I really hope that we see that version of the Witwicky family at some point.
Right.
Spike, Daniel, Sparkplug,
Yeah.
Carly, all that.
Right. 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 So yeah, we will see how they handle it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Let's start closing things out and getting our grades. Overall, this was such a breath of fresh air for the Transformers franchise. I thought it was such an enjoyable time. This is one of the better Transformers films. It is one of the best ones. It's probably up there with the original animated film, obviously. Um, okay, so with the yeah, I think it has a better story than the first Michael Bay Transformers movie. It feels more
I agree.
coherent. Um, so yeah, I guess I would probably say this is probably either the best or probably at least the second best Transformers film. Definitely miles above the sequels. Miles above the sequels.
Yeah.
Kilometers better than the sequels.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, what I appreciate is that this is a simpler story. They went back to basics. They focus more on the emotion and good human characters. Even though it's more of a focus on the humans than the Transformers. Again, at least the humans are much more likable in this. And as you said, I actually would be up for bringing Charlie back or Memo back or um, John Cena back in a future installment if that's what they decide to do. But I'm glad that these characters are this time around is really good. I liked what they did with Bumblebee. I thought it was really really good. Even though it's still the puppy stuff, at least they treated it better than they did in the latter half of the Michael Bay films. And the chemistry between Bumblebee and Charlie was really really good. Some of the best stuff in the film. um, Seeing the G1 designs on the Transformers, seeing color, seeing more simplistic designs, like seeing actual choreography that we can actually make out who's punching who's fighting who. Like it's all great. It's great seeing the G1 designs for these modern live action Transformers films. This is what we wanted since the beginning, and it looks so good. um, but yeah, overall, this is a really good step in the right direction for this new rebooted Transformers franchise. It made me more optimistic to see what we have in store for Rise of the Beast and whatever they do going forward. And also, I'm looking forward to the animated prequel that we're going to get
Hmm.
with Transformers One. But yeah, but overall, I will give Bumblebee. I'm between a B and a B plus. I'm like, which one is I give? Jeez, it's really tough. I know I'm going to give it a B because, as I said, like the story isn't that original. They do very well with it, but like it did feel very derivative of stuff like the Iron Giant and ET and stuff like that. So that's
Hmm.
probably why I just give it a B. It's still a good movie. It's a good movie, but I'm not I'm not over the moon with it. I don't think it's like fantastic or anything, but definitely a step in the right direction. All right, go ahead, BB.
Yeah, no, I mean, this after everything that happened with like the Michael Bay films, this, yes, was a breath of fresh air. After last night, I was almost gonna give up like stuff with like the Transformers collections and everything. So
Oh,
this was like a huge just step in the right direction. So and honestly, I think to me this is the best Transformers film so far. Now, the only reason I say that is because the 80s film, while it was great, felt too much like a commercial to me, looking back at it. It
right.
felt too much like buy these new toys, get rid of
Mhm.
these old toys, buy these new toys. But so I love that you actually had an actual story, actual characters that you could follow, character arcs that saw resolutions. Um, the music was really good, of course, for what was in there. The small little moments that they had with the characters were really good, giving the Decepticons actual personalities, and yes, color was fantastic. Going back to basics with these more bulky, blocky designs was fantastic, and seeing that that's somewhat carried over to Rise of the Beast is great. Um, and it does make me optimistic for what we're going to see with Rise of the Beast and beyond, since they do plan on doing more after Rise of the Beast. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping the Rise of the Beast is really good. Fingers crossed, my God.
Fingers
But
crossed.
um and yeah, I do agree that it takes it's not a very original story. It is very derivative of other works like Iron Giant. Um but at the same time, I do think that works to its benefit rather than its detriment, because it is once again just kind of something that this franchise needed after all the just mud and filth that it was dragged through for 5 films for 11 years at this point.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, no, I mean, overall, I loved this film, and it's one that I regularly go back and watch because it's just I appreciate it that much for what it did, not just as a film, but for the franchise of Transformers as a whole. I appreciate what it did and what it tried to do.
Hmm.
So personally, I am going to give it a B plus.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's not a movie that, it's not one that I'm over the moon about. Like that throne goes to things like Kubo, A Silent Voice, Fantastic Mr. Fox, now Across the Spider-Verse, and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But this is up there for me.
Nice. Well, that is our thoughts on Bumblebee. Tell us, what did you guys think? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? How does this compare to the other Transformers films? Even though I'm pretty sure we have a good idea where it ranks for a lot of people. But tell us your thoughts on Bumblebee down below. All right. We made it through all the Transformers films. We made it. The only thing
We
left
did.
is to wait for Transformers Rise of the Beast, and we will give you our thoughts when we see it this weekend. Pray to God.
I
It,
am.
it continues in the direction of Bumblebee, giving us what we want,
Oh man.
you know? All fingers crossed. But from what I'm hearing so far, that it does feel like it's continuing on in the vein of Bumblebee for the most part. So I have high hopes. I have high hopes, and that's not something I would say uh, before 2017.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
you know, so that's great. If you guys enjoyed this stream, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And please hit the bell if you want to make notified on future videos I'll be doing. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, so any interaction helps. Go ahead and plug your stuff, Big B.
As always, you can find me at Red, White, and Blue Streak right there. I do Transformers reviews pretty regularly. I'm doing one almost every week. I just released one yesterday, as a matter of fact. And the next one I plan on releasing will be after Rise of the Beast, and it will be of the Rise of the Beast Optimus figure. So if you want to see my thoughts on that, and maybe a
Oh,
little glimpse into my thoughts on the movie, feel free to take a look at that. But
Nice. So as we're slowly like putting a close on Transformers Tuesday, we will start getting into Turtles Thursday, or most likely be Turtles Thursday, because we will be talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies leading up to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem coming in
Oh
August.
yeah,
So you are more than welcome to comment that one too if you're interested, and I'll see you if anyone else wants to join in on the
yeah,
discussion. So
absolutely. That's probably the other thing besides Transformers that I really like. So
nice. So yeah, we will start things off talking about the original 1990 movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So tune in for that when it comes out. And then we just concluded talking about all the Indiana Jones films leading up to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So yeah, a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline. But that's all we have for you today, you Transformers fans, and we will see you guys next time. Talk to you guys later. You got the touch. You
we
got
got
the
the power.
power.